Hello and welcome to the InternView, a series focused on checking in and catching up with Actors Express's interns of the past, present, and future. I am Eliott Grenier, and I am a current acting intern, and today I am joined by our sixth guest. He's performed all over Georgia, working on stage as well as in film and television, and will also be the lead in Actors Express's next production of Desire Under the Elms. Skye Passmore, how are you doing, Skye?
I'm all right. I'm sleepy.
Yeah, I get you. Well, how did you get into theater to begin with?
So I had always wanted to be an actor since I was like really little, but it wasn't something that my parents necessarily supported for my childhood, teenage life, and it wasn't until my senior year in high school that I took a theater class and then decided I was going to be broke and pursue that.
So you started doing some shows and then you got exposed to Actors Express. What was that first experience like?
So AE was always a theater on my radar. They were the theater I was most interested in working at as a college student. And the first show I saw there was Marcus' Secretive Suite, which was amazing. It had some amazing actors in it. And yeah, I was blown away, and so I started ushering there as a volunteer usher.
Oh, very cool.
As a way to try to get my foot in the door. And then I did Unifieds, and Freddie graciously called me back, even though I tend to be terrible at catacall auditions. I'm getting better at them, but there's something I never really thrived at. And we had I couldn't make it to the live audition, so I had to send in a video and have a phone interview.
What was auditioning online for what was a year-long commitment feel like?
It wasn't live, which was nice.
Right.
I got to record it and make it how I wanted it to be. It at that point in my life, I didn't really feel like I had no idea what I was doing. So I didn't have a metric to judge it off of.
So you were just kind of like, all right, let's try it.
Yeah,
And then
no, the theater's interested in me. They're the only ones that called me back. Yeah.
and so then what was that experience like? Oh, so then it was the one that you got called back, and then you got it. You booked the gig. What was that like?
I was excited. Yeah, as someone that didn't grow up acting, and someone who didn't really learn too much about the industry in college, I was excited. It was a first professional step, and I felt verified.
And
as
so
an
then
actor.
what was that like then? So you're coming from maybe some other people maybe more experienced than you walking in the door. What was that like sitting down the first time meeting the people who would be with you for the next year?
It was awesome. I try to when I meet new groups of people, I try to be warm and friendly, and everybody in my intern group was warm and friendly for the most part. It tended to devolve throughout the year, but we can talk about that.
Things didn't necessarily go smoothly as things went on.
Yeah, I would actually say our intern group, from what I heard from staff and just what other people have said about our specific intern group, we were actually one of the ones who got along the least.
What was that experience like? Was that a challenge for you specifically? Or what was another pit? Is there something that caused it? Was there a pitfall?
I think it's just the environment, the environment of an unpaid internship. Everyone in that intern group, they're nice people. They're wonderful people. People that I didn't necessarily get along with, I ended up working with after the internship was done, and we have a good working relationship, and there's something about the environment of being in an unpaid internship that I think causes people to devalue themselves.
Gotcha.
And so because of that, they tend not to act the most professionally in what's supposed to be a professional environment. And so, people with big personalities too. It
Mhm.
just, there's a lot of clash.
So then, for you, did you feel that experience yourself, or what did you do to combat that?
Well, so kind of the way I, as a person, feel that challenge when I'm in an environment like that, and I'm growing and changing from this. I'm trying to take it
Mhm.
more easy because I like this version of myself better when I take things easier. But old me, and I guess still me, it's still a natural instinct I have, is when I'm in a situation like that where things are really rough and I'm not getting paid, and I took it as an opportunity to prove that I should be getting paid.
Oh,
And
so you
I
took
did,
it as a way to step up and be like, all right, this is what I will be doing beyond the experience that I'm in right now.
yeah. So I tried my best to be, um, I guess, uber professional and uber driven, and just which I probably overcorrected, and I probably ended up not making myself the most accessible intern to have a relationship with.
What was a positive experience?
And my favorite thing about the internship was all the people I met. And I think that's the big strength of internships in general. It's they serve as a stepping stone, a liaison into the community. So I've got tons of artists that I respect, artists who have been working for a while in film and TV and theater. They work at Actors Express, and now we're very dear friends. Now, that being said, after having done an internship like Actors Expresses, I fundamentally disagree with the entire concept of unpaid internship. And I'll just say, in terms of just that, what's so hard about it being unpaid, uh, Actors Expresses specifically, is that it's a theater in Midtown Atlanta. It's not in Lawrenceville or Roswell where there's a cheaper standard of living. If you're someone that has some sort of, I guess, neurosis to you, where like you can't, it's hard to fall asleep in general. If you're like me and a lot of other people, um, then it just doesn't do you any favors. Like I remember I finally got a job. And I had been looking for a job for like 3 weeks. No one would hire me. I finally had a job. It paid about $8.25 an hour, but I was like, okay, I'll take it. Um, it'll help out. And this is where I burned out really quickly. This was
Mhm.
after our first show, and I don't know how I survived it, honestly. Um, but I was working at a sandwich shop in West Midtown,
Uh-huh.
and I would have to be at the sandwich shop at 5 a.m.
Oof.
and then I would get off around 4 p.m. And that's a really long shift, but I was only working 3 days out of the week, because I needed to make enough money to pay my rent. Uh, and I just remember not being able to afford anything, and I had no time. I had no personal time to myself to recharge,
Mhm.
because I couldn't barely afford my rent. I wasn't buying food, so I was chain smoking. I was just drinking energy drinks, just trying to keep myself awake. And we would get out of these rehearsals around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'd have to be up in 2 hours. A lot of the times I would just sleep at the theater without telling anyone.
How did you cope?
Well, eventually it was the strike after Stupid Fucking Bird, which was our first show. And I just did not wake up for my job. My body shut down, and my boss ended up getting mad at me, and I walked out. I've never walked out of a job before, but I walked out, and eventually I found a new job. But what happened was that I took personal time, but I had to choose, right? Because I wasn't
Mhm.
getting paid for my internship. So what happened was I racked up credit card debt to live,
Uh, you see, and that's something. Since
which
you're
is
my
my own fault.
Yeah,
But
yeah, that was something that actually my first person that I interviewed said that that was a pitfall that you want to avoid, is that you don't want to go into credit card debt in order to make your acting dream a possibility. What would you recommend to an intern or someone who's considering being an intern if they needed to work a job like that?
That's hard because it's a personal decision.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to set aside my bias against unpaid internships,
Mm-hmm.
I would say that if it's hell. It's hell. But if you're willing to put up with hell for a year to accelerate your entrance into the industry, then and exactly that's what you want to do. You want to be in Atlanta and do theater. I think it's worth it in that sense. Now, I have tons of friends that don't do that never did an internship,
Mm-hmm.
but there was a specific need for them.
Gotcha.
I was not one of those people, so I felt like it helped me.
You made it through. It ends. What was the next step for you?
Well, so luckily, I had an artistic director see me in a show at Actors Express, and he needed me to fill his his ethnic needs for a certain show. He did Miss Saigon, and this was Serenbe Playhouse, and as an Asian man, that was a need for me. Now that that's right place, right time.
Mm-hmm.
If Actors Express didn't give me that opportunity to be on stage, then I might not have ever made that connection. So it was easy for me coming out of the internship because I had a gig lined up.
So then from that opportunity, you were led to some other opportunities, which, looking at your website, you've got a lot of really cool pictures. You're an actor and you're a model. What, I guess what happened since then to now? What were some big highlights then that you see are echoes of your efforts?
That's hard to say. I don't reflect so much on my
I mean, that's
career.
fair.
Yeah. From what I learned about myself during the internship, I learned that I have the ability, if I set my mind on a goal, I get fully invested in it. I love Shakespeare.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a lot of Shakespeare on my resume. I had no Shakespeare on my resume after, during the internship and afterwards, but it was always something I wanted to do. So people, this is a silly example, but I used to have short hair. I had short hair my entire life. If you know me now, my hair has been, as long as you've known me, my hair has been long. It's been,
Yeah, I've never not known you
hair.
with long hair.
I grew my hair out so I could do more Shakespeare.
Oh, excellent!
Because I looked more classical, and I ended up doing more.
With that, then you we're obviously in the middle of the pandemic. All the theaters are down, but you're in Desire Under the Elms. Mm-hmm. So, what is it like then to come back to the theater that you spent this year as an intern, and then coming back now to work as a professional?
I am super excited. Whenever we get to do it. Mm-hmm. I remember getting the scripts and the sides and just being like, I have to play this part. Yeah. So I know exactly how I would, do this part, and I'm excited to show that in the audition room. And it's got a great cast of people that I admire, and I've seen their work. And Deanne Rodriguez, who mm-hmm. I would be playing across, she was an actor who did a show there when I was an intern, and I had watched her for a while before Actors Express, before my internship. I had seen her in different capacities, so it blows my mind that I finally get to perform with her.
That's awesome.
And be directed by Freddie.
Yeah, it kind of takes you almost full circle. Is there any parting words that you would like to say?
If I sounded harsh, I'm not trying to be harsh, but that's how I feel. My one parting word is that I don't think the idea of an internship needs to be scrapped in general. I just think it needs to serve the interns. and not the bottom line of the theater. I've always, I've talked about this with my girlfriend who I live with, who was also an intern that same year, and it makes me wonder if there's a possibility that these internships don't have to be a year commitment, if it could be, a partial season commitment. That way, interns still get that pro and they still get those connections, but they get more dedicated time, and then you can hire less interns, so you can give them more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Skye. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah. Thank you, Eliott.